So why did I buy a Kawasaki Versys-X? That's a good question. Another good question would be, why am I wearing a headset with a microphone boom on it? That's a little strange. I'm new to this whole vlogging thing, blogging, whatever you want to call it, making videos, and I have a GoPro that I use, and I've learned really quickly that the microphone on a GoPro is not ideal for picking up voice. So I'm trying something else out. I've actually got this wired into a computer that's recording separately, and I'll do some video editing magic to tie the two together. But anyway, back to the Versys 300X. Why this bike? So to get let me start with a little bit of background on what kind of a rider I am and what experience I have, which isn't very much. So I grew up on in middle school, probably was when I started riding actual bikes with a motor on them. That's about as far as I can go because the first bike I had was actually a moped. It was a bicycle that you pedal. You pulled the clutch in to start the 49cc two-stroke engine, and that was about it. You did about 22 miles an hour downhill with a tailwind. I didn't really ever ride it on the street though, even though it was street legal. I didn't have a motorcycle license, and so I just rode it around the backyard. So fast forward many years, I'm in college. I got some friends that have Ninja 250s, and I think they're the coolest bike ever. I rode some of my friends' Ninja 250s around, and I really enjoyed them. But being a responsible adult after college, I got married, got a job, and always kind of in the back of my mind thought, it'd be kind of cool to own a Ninja 250. But never really, being responsible, paying off student loans, etc. I went many years without really getting into the whole bike scene. And it wasn't until uh, I had a neighbor that I didn't even know across the street from me who had a Ninja 250 in his shop, and it was his son's. And I said, hey, if you want to sell that thing, man, I'll pay you cash and I'll take it. I kind of want to get into that. It kind of reminded me of that. And so, after some time, he said, "Okay, yeah, I'll sell it to you." He gave me a pretty good price. It needed some work. The carburetor it wouldn't idle very well. It really wouldn't rev very good. And anyone who's ever ridden a Ninja 250 knows that they don't really produce any power till really high in the range. And this thing could not get high in the range. It could only get to about 6,000 RPMs before it hesitated. So it needed quite a bit of work. The hard part was convincing my wife to let me get it because, in her own words, only douchebags ride sport bikes. And Ninja apparently being the worst of them all. So that was the biggest hurdle I had. I basically convinced her, look, this is a starter bike. This is what I want to get to start. I want to get my motorcycle license. I want to get some miles in on it. And then I'll sell it. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. Got my motorcycle license. Started riding a little bit on the street. I had that bike for a few years. I only put about 1,000 miles on it. Why is that? I think there's this point where once you hit about 30, the sport bike is not really, when I was in college, that would have been fun, laying over and just kind of really laying on your bike and riding it. It wasn't comfortable for me. Now I'm in my mid 30s. That wasn't the feel I was going for. Otherwise the bike was pretty good, but I live out in the country on some they call them paved roads. They're not exactly paved. There's a lot of loose rocks, and I wasn't really confident on that bike. So um, I what I really enjoy are dirt bikes. That's really kind of where my passion is. And I had ridden a TTR, a Yamaha TTR 125 was what I started out on. I moved up to a Honda 150, and I wanted a bigger dirt bike. And I kind of started thinking about it, and I said, you know what? I have an idea. I really like the idea of a dual sport. So I'm going to sell the Ninja, sell my TTR 125, sell my Honda 150, combine all three of those and go out and get a dual sport. And after a lot of research, keep in mind I think I only put about 1,000 miles on that Ninja 250 the entire time I had it. So by the time I sold that bike, um, I had I pretty much felt like the right dual sport for me was a Yamaha XT250. So that's kind of what I decided to do. I sold all three of those bikes, and I pretty much had almost enough money to cover a XT250. I put some extra money with it to make it happen. I bought that thing brand new, a 2019, from a dealership. Drove it off the lot with, just the test drive miles on it. I was like 5 miles on it or something like that. So I was really proud of that bike. I really liked it for what it was. It was a really fun bike. I do feel I had it for a little over a year. And I guess it's really, really common to kind of go through bikes. I still really like the bike. I kind of, I wouldn't say I regret selling it. I'm glad I sold it. The person I sold it to is having a lot of enjoyment with it, and it was really a redundant bike for me. I sold it to buy a KLX 250 Kawasaki. Now, yes, that's also a redundant bike. Isn't that kind of the same thing as an XT250? Well, it's a little bit of a step up. It's I think some of the numbers I've seen is the XT250 is about 17 horsepower. The KLX is somewhere in the ballpark of maybe 24. It is noticeable. It's a little bit better. The XT wasn't quite as fast as I wanted it to be on the road. The problem I had with the XT though, and I think this is the problem most people that have been heavy dirt riding, and then have done some street riding, and they think they want to combine those two. The one thing you find is the Achilles heel is those tires. If you get a dual sport with tires that are going to be okay on the street, they're going to suck off road. And when I say off road, I don't mean on the forest road, on the gravel road. They were fine on that. I'm talking about when you go through the mud, when you go do the actual single track kind of stuff that I really enjoy riding on my dirt bike. You're in heavy rocks, stuff like that. The dual sport 50/50 tires were not they were, I mean, every time I hit some slick mud, I was on my side and I was going, why is this? I don't understand. I bought some Michelin AC10 um, knobby DOT tires for it. Problem went away. It was awesome, awesome off road. I loved that bike off road. On road, it sucked. I'm sorry. I mean, and by sucked, I mean, it was a typical dual sport. I mean, it's a dirt bike that you can take on the road that's street legal. By that definition, it was fine. I'm not going to get pulled over. When I say sucked, I mean just riding it around. It was not very desirable past about 60 miles an hour. And even those knobby tires I had on it, they're going to get chewed up on the pavement if I ever drive it on the pavement. And I slid the back end on a pavement a few times, taking sharp turns. I didn't like that feeling. So ultimately, we go back to the I need a different need. Need's a funny word. I need a different bike for the street than for the dirt. So the type of places I ride, I still really want to have a dual sport. I want to have it street legal. I want to be able to ride from my campsite if the place is 20 miles away. I want to be able to take the dirt bike there and not have to trailer it in and out. Having that license plate makes it okay. Out here in the country where I live, there's fields and stuff that I can go explore. And having that, even though out in the country, you're probably not going to get pulled over for driving a dirt bike. If you've got a headlight and a tail light, you're probably not going to get harassed. But still, it's good to know that I'm legal. So if something were to come up, I'm fine. There's nothing illegal about what I'm doing. So I still really like that dual sport approach. I haven't quite decided if I want to sell that and go all out dirt only, like a cross country type of bike, so I can shave a little bit of weight off that dirt bike. I'm not there yet, and I'm okay with that. I like to take small steps as far as my dirt bikes go and my motorcycles. So KLX 250 for right now. I'm really happy with it. I've got it lowered. Yeah, I'm 5'4". I'm short. I lowered it a little bit. At first it still kind of felt a little tall, but after getting a little used to it, I love it. I think the height is perfect on the bike. That ground clearance comes in handy when I'm going over big rocks. So now we are how many minutes into this video, and I still have not said why the Versys X300. Why? Well, here's why. I like the upright seating position of a dirt bike. That's what I'm used to. That's my passion. The Ninja, even though to this day, if I could go, I'd go buy a Ninja 400 if I wasn't in my mid 30s. If I was in college and I had money, that's probably the bike I'd go for because I like the look of that bike. I like the way it looks. I can't say runs because I've never ridden one. I know my Ninja 250 I liked, but I can only imagine the 400's better. So this bike, same engine as the Ninja 300. It's a parallel twin, fairly smooth, at least compared to a dual sport or a dirt bike, adventure bike. So I used to actually kind of poo-poo on adventure bikes before I really knew anything about them. I thought adventure bikes are for the guys that ride the street but think they ride dirt, or they like the idea. They go, I'm the kind of guy who, yeah, I want to get off and take the path less traveled, but they never actually do, right? So I used to kind of poo-poo on these bikes. I live in the country, The types of roads that I ride are what this bike's made to do. I'm not going to take this bike on some heavy forest road or some single track out at Red River motorcycle trails. This is not the right bike for that purpose. This is the reason I bought this bike is I wanted a street bike that was a little more adventure gravel road type of a bike. Why did I buy a Versys X300? After kind of looking at it, I kind of liked it. Um, I'd say one of the main reasons is price. This is a very budget-friendly bike. I did buy it brand new. It's not a $10,000 bike. It's more like if you get a good deal, a $5,000 bike. Maybe I didn't fully answer the question for why I chose this bike. Um, you know, Price, comfort, it sits upright, it rides like a dirt bike. I can stand up on it while I'm driving. I do a lot of standing when I'm on bikes, and I can stand up on this and it feels natural. It doesn't feel wonky like the Ninja 250 felt when I stood up. I really haven't even finished breaking the thing in yet. I did a break-in oil change at 300 miles. Um, I haven't really redlined it very much. You're not supposed to, according to the owner's manual, until you break in. I have done it a few times. Once it gets up there, it's kind of fun, but I've been trying to keep it below 6,000 per the owner's manual recommendation. So here, after the next couple hundred miles, I'll be able to get out and actually play around a little bit on the bike and have some fun. I'm dying to take it on an adventure, although I'm pretty sure most people, like I was saying, most people that buy this bike dream of going on an adventure but never do. I'm one of those. I'm one of those people. I think it'd be cool to take this thing moto camping sometime. Load some gear up on the back. Go spend the night somewhere and come back. It'd be cool. But am I ever gonna do that? I don't know. It just depends on, I guess, if I can find some friends or buddies that want to do that with me. Like I said, my passion really is dirt bikes, riding off road in the dirt. So most times, if I have some time to go do something like that, that's probably what I would do, not go moto camping. But the option's there. So there we have it. Hopefully, I mean, I kind of blabbed on for a little bit, but hopefully you have some kind of an understanding for my history and why I bought this bike. And yeah,